So C at the microphone.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Kathleen said yes.
Yep, Brian said, thank you guys. Okay, everybody, hi, welcome to our September CRS Workgroup Show and Tell. My name is Genevieve Gary. I am the new-ish co-chair and will be leading our meetings. Thank you for everybody who showed up in person, and thank you all who are online. All right, so I'm going to put up the poll for everybody who is a CFM to get their credits, and we're going to do introductions. So if you have not already, put in the chat where you are from, if you're a CRS community, what rating you have, please do so, and then everybody in the room, please go around, let us know. Ooh, we have one person coming.
Hey,
hello.
Welcome.
Right.
What's up?
Help yourself.
Yeah. How's everybody?
All
Good.
right.
Oh, sorry. No, you're fine.
Why don't I just move over here?
I was looking for Linda.
Huh?
Linda, come on.
Oh, yeah, I think that would be a pretty sight today. And
Okay, well, if you didn't hear, I'm Genevieve Gary. I do not have my CFM yet, but we are going to talk about that later on today. And my house is technically in Norfolk, and Norfolk is a class 5. Yeah. All right, MC, turned over to you.
Okay, Mary Carson Stith. I'm the executive director of Wetlands Watch and currently co-chair of the CRS Workgroup and live in Norfolk, class 5. And I'm a CFO.
Hi, I'm Ian Blair, Policy Program Director, Wetlands Watch, Norfolk, Class 5.
I'm Brian Lewis, I'm Gloucester County, and we're class 5.
Yeah.
It's not a thing for me.
Chris Williams, City of Newport News. We were recently increased to a class 6.
Mike Wilson, James City County. We are the original 5-star.
I'm Deirdre Wells, also with James City County. A little embarrassed for Mike.
Well, just in case Enrico was here.
Oh, okay. Fair point.
He just added on to mine. Go ahead, Mike. I'm right behind you.
Good morning, everyone. Emma Corbett, HRPDC.
This is Chesapeake. What's Chesapeake's?
Chesapeake is class
That's great.
7.
Chesapeake is class 7, and they are working very hard to get their stuff, and I think it's looking good.
For 6.
Yes,
Yeah.
for 6. Okay, well, hi everyone. Thank you for introducing yourselves. So today we're going to be doing a little bit of show and tell, and we're going to be talking about the CRS credits for activity 330. We are also going to go over the CRS manual updates. We're going to talk about 3 policies that might be on your radar, just to give you an idea. There's a FEMA Act, there's a CLEAR Act, which is a different CLEAR Act. There's 2 up right now with the same name. And then a road to housing, which all of these are connected to resiliency. We're going to go over some flooding updates and events, and then we are going to go through some work group member updates. The prime goal here today is really to talk about how we can communicate to people and better explain the risk, what kind of messaging, and we're going to go over some messaging examples, and we're going to kind of talk about as a group, how can that get CRS credit, and do we just even think that that messaging is good or would be perceived well by residents and people in our area. But before we do that, I'm just going to kind of go over some of our meetings. So our last meeting of 2025 will be on Wednesday, November 19th from 10 a.m. to noon here in Newport News and online. So just kind of note that, because no, we will not be having a meeting, right before the day before Thanksgiving. So these are the proposed dates for next year. So if everybody could please take the time to look at these and let us know if there are some really big conflicts with some of these dates. We are also looking at potentially having, as always, we're gonna have all of the meetings available on Zoom. We're gonna look at having most of them here in Newport News and then have about 2 at the HRPDC as well. So if there is if you want to come to those and you're like, okay, I think that the one at the HRPDC should be in like May. Please let me know ASAP in the next couple days, because I really want to make sure that these are all on our calendar for next year. Does everybody have these? I mean, you'll get the slides and I can even email them out. Is it good to move on, everyone?
Yep.
Okay. All right, and just a quick reminder to, if you're CFM or interested to join the VFMA, the Virginia Floodplain Managers Association. Okay, so it is hurricane season, and I think this is very timely for us to be talking about communicating, given last week we had some flooding going on and we didn't even, I mean, it felt like a tropical storm outside and we didn't really have much warning. I mean, so this is, I just pulled this last night. So the orange should even be updated to red, which means there's a higher percent probability that a tropical storm will form in the next 7 days. So I think it's really important that we think about these things today, because we are now right at the height of hurricane season and people are still not understanding our messaging. Because this is, as I said, this is going to be a show and tell in which we're going to go over our messaging, but this was taken last week in Virginia Beach. Someone did not get the message and drove their Aston Martin, which is just an absolute disservice to that vehicle. It's absolute shame. But I just wanted to show this that
No shade, no shade.
some people are not understanding the messaging of not driving or making sure their vehicles get to high ground or checking the weather.
So you got that much money just to set it all. What are parking?
Yeah, this is the moment, the Moses moment. The Moses moment. Or something called a Moses complex, like. And we'll all park.
Yeah. Now,
Oh, it's so low, there's so low. This is like a Ferrari being
I
like,
mean, this is
I
getting
can make it.
yeah, this is getting total. I mean, when you think about how many, I mean,
It was
but
stuck, yeah.
we laugh about this, but there are people in our community that if their one mode of transportation is gone because they drive, that could be a huge detriment to their livelihood because they don't have vehicles anymore because they drove it through floodwater. Oh, yeah, thanks, Brian. Yeah, it hurts my soul as a James Bond fan, like, let's see this picture. All right, so I'm gonna overview the outreach messaging and what some of the acronyms mean. And then we're gonna go in, if you did bring your city's messaging, we're gonna go over that towards the end and we're gonna discuss, you know, goods and bads of communicating everything. So just a reminder, you know, you can go online. I know there's been a lot of kind of like what's available, what's not available. FEMA is actively updating stuff. They just updated as of September 15th, the CRS manual, which we're going to talk about after we go over activity 330. But this, you know, there is this online about the outreach projects. If you go onto crsresources.com and then click on the 300 series, and then right underneath that, you'll see the 330, and they have examples. I think they probably need to be updated as, you know, even this was done in 2017, even with the manual in 2025, social media is just going at a pace more than what the manual and everything else is at. And you do get credits for social media. So what are the elements of 330? So you will hear them referred to, they'll see OP, FRP, and PPI. For example, before I came into this job, I did not know what PPI meant. Because I was thinking PSI, because there's just a million acronyms in the sciences, right? And work wise. So outreach projects are referred to OP, and they can get up to 200 points for designing and carrying out public outreach projects. Flood response preparations are up to 50 points for having pre-flood or public information activities ready for the next flood. Then program for public information, PPI, is up to 80 points added to those OP credits and up to 20 points added to the FRP. And just to note, everything on these next couple slides, this is pulled from the 2025 CRS manual, okay? So what are the total amount of credits you can get? That is 350 points, and that includes the extra credit available for communities that design and implement a PPI program. So two types can be credited. So your outreach projects that have to be distributed every single year. And then projects that will be distributed when a flood occurs, but prepared, reviewed, and adjusted each year. So you might not have had to, you know, if we haven't had a flood, like you're not going to get the credits, you know, if you don't get a flood, but you have to keep reviewing what your response is going to be and documenting that. It's a big thing, document.
And you do get credit if you have the plan for FRP if there is no flood that year. Like if you don't deploy your materials because you don't have to, you're not going to get dinged in points. It's the showing that this is the process that you follow that you get points for. So just want to clarify, because I haven't heard of that, of people not getting it if they don't have to do it.
And so credits are based on three factors: what and how many messages are conveyed, what type of projects they are, and how often they are delivered. So those outreach projects, must be delivered every year. As we were saying, these flood response FRP must be delivered at least once during or after flood. And these points can then be increased by 40% if they're developed and implemented with your area's PPI, if you have one. And then the credit for PPI projects can be increased an additional 30% if they are delivered by stakeholders. And they also refer to this stakeholder involvement as like STK in the manual. And so what are the topics that you can have for your outreach projects? So these are the 6 that they have in there: know your hazard, insure your property for your flood hazard, protect people from the hazard, protect your property from the hazard, build responsibly, and protect natural floodplain functions. So what of these 6 topics did that Aston Martin driver not get?
All protect the school.
At least number 4.
Protect this project from that.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, all 4, you know,
The horse to water, but
you would think he probably has insurance, but yeah, protect your property from the hazard. And so, can you guys? Well,
Maybe
so
move it to the bottom. There's more.
okay.
High flooding.
Oh, there we go. Okay.
Press the skip.
All right, so here we go. So this is one of the tables that is pulled from the manual that kind of gives you examples of where these 6 topics can play into. So, you know, call XYZ to find out that the flood hazard of your property. You know, so that example of other messaging of that is telling people that they can go on to like MSC and the mapping for where you find the firms, and they can pump their address in and go see the flood map, and they can go see if they are specifically in a special flood hazard area, on the firm. I think that's a great example of that for people, because you might have people right now that are on Zillow and they're like, oh, well, it's saying I don't flood on Zillow right now, or oh, the flood hazard is like a 4 out of 10. What does that actually mean for me? Am I gonna have to purchase flood insurance? Directing people to the exact place where they can see it, that's, takes about a minute, less than a minute online, could be a good resource for them and have an understanding of where, are they not in the floodplain? Are they gonna need insurance, and not just homeowners insurance, renters insurance, right? We need to make sure our renters are protected as well. So knowing where your hazard, and that kind of does go into insure your property for your flood hazard. So letting people know of, where they can go ask their insurance agents, renters should they have it for their contracts, taking advantage of a low cost preferred risk policy. I think a really important thing that we talk about a lot in the group is that, it floods outside of the special flood hazard SFHA just as much sometimes as in the SFHA. The maps aren't perfect. And so, it does, just because you are outside of it does not mean it's no risk. It's low risk, right? The special flood hazard area is high risk to moderate. You're outside of it, you're still in that low to moderate risk of flooding.
And we should probably update this chart. This is from the CRS manual. So if they haven't updated this and this is what it says, then that's a problem, because there is no more preferred risk policy because of risk rating 2.0.
I wondered about that.
But there is an elective policy, which is what Gigi is describing. Right? You can get an elective policy that is supposed to be less expensive because you're not required to have it, because you're not in the special flood hazard area, but preferred risk policies are gone. So
we should let them know, because this is from the 2025 annual. Everything that except a picture of the Aston Martin and the activity, the 2017. This is pulled from the manual.
we should let them
So
know.
would you call that again?
So the preferred risk policy is no longer available. It is an elective policy. So that's how we should talk about the things that used to be PRPs or preferred risk policies really are just elective. You don't have to have it, but you have it because it's a good idea.
So another one, that the drivers should understand: protect people from the hazard, turn around, don't drown. And I think we've talked about this a little bit in the group. In the coastal area, we don't have as much of the flash flooding as we do other areas. It is a harder job for us communicate to people that even though that water is not moving fast, or it's going to come down a valley or something, they can still put themselves and their property in harm's way, even with a couple inches of water. And I think another example of this is kind of what happened during Hurricane Helene and some stuff I saw in North Carolina. You never know what's underneath that road. There might be a couple inches. There might be a culvert underneath that road that could wipe out at any moment. And so this isn't some messaging that is, I think, one of the ones we could work on the hardest, even though obviously we might not get the most CRS credit points, but it does save lives. And so next one, protect your property from the hazard. Store your valuables and insurance papers upstairs in a waterproof container. I would like to really talk about this a lot, given the fact that I just personally went through this with water in my household. If there is anything important, have it stored away. Have it contained and know that it is. I'm not saying it has to be 100% waterproof, but at least from rain getting on top of it, or if in our case, floating up. I think this can save people some heartache if we really communicate, you know, you're gonna lose stuff, but you don't have to lose everything. And you don't expect, especially with photographs too, right? I don't think there's anything worse than having to go through into somebody's home when they're clearing out after a hurricane or flood, and you have to throw away photos. You know, especially if they might have been in one of those small plastic tubs. So, yeah, another example, you know, this is something we're working on a lot, is trying to understand if people, you know, can we get their houses raised? If they are interested in moving or relocating, can we help them make sure that they're getting the appropriate money for a buyout? You know, protecting, that can also protect the community as well. You know, building responsibly, you know, we see, I don't know about y'all, but we see those to, you know, call before you dig, type stuff, and you know, building responsibly these days, I think we're all talking about that, having higher standards in our communities that are a part of other CRS credits. Flood proofing, this kind of does overlap into where you're getting credits at other points. Now you're just also communicating it as well, right? And then, one of our favorites, protect the natural floodplain of the functions, you know, get people to understand how the ecosystem services can work for them. That, you know, having the wetlands there, having some open space, this can help you protect your property. You know, you want clean water to swim in. I think we all think about that when you see the bacteria, oh, is in the bay, we can't swim there. Easy, that's why we should pick up our poop. I mean, understanding our poop. Well, it's true, it's for dogs, yeah, in general. Well, keep it clean, right? Keep it clean. You want to be able to swim, let's do that.
That's why I logged on, so I can
Okay.
chat, so I can do that later.
Waterproof and fireproof. Yes, why not combine that much? Yes, thank you, Camille. That is great. And
Oh, that's a good idea.
yeah, well, we do have a high tide newsletter at Wetlands Watch. Camille, that's a great point. So I'm going to talk about it later, but I did just go to EMI and I went to the floodplain class, but you know, for intro into the NFIP and CRS. And that's something one of the people from FEMA talked about, is that we communicate to kids, you know, stop, drop, and roll and everything else. But do we communicate as much about flooding? Not about the driving and that kind of thing, about their actual risk when it does flood, or electrical lines or these kind of things. We don't. And that's something we could all do better on, because you know, time and time again, we've unfortunately have lost a lot of people this year and previous years to flooding. And we could have tried, we all could have tried to, oh, well, okay, yep, that works too, Camille. Having documents in a floodproof and fireproof box. Yep. I agree.
Are there any recommendations?
Personally, I have a small lockbox about a little bigger than a laptop for those that can't see me online, that I keep like passport, extra cash. I think you should, I mean, that's something we should communicate to people. You should still have cash in case of emergencies. I mean, you can't rely on electronics. And deeds, that kind of stuff in there, and have it. I think a key is better than having like a turn one, but that's just personal.
I think, like, are there any recommendations for like a brand? Is that what you meant? Like a type of, if anybody has them, drop them in the chat.
Yeah.
I don't know of any. I've never
Anybody
looked at
has any? You can purchase them like at Home Depot and Walmart. I know that.
it.
Or if we, what words, if Wetlands Watch does the research, creates an affiliate link on Amazon or something.
Yeah.
We vetted these fireproof and waterproof.
We tested, we lit these on fire.
Yeah.
Sounds like a really fun activity.
But that is a great point.
Glad it's interesting.
So these, you know, oops, no, go back. Sorry.
You can hide that if you want, because I'll monitor the chat.
Okay. So again, just remember, these are your 6 topics that your messaging has to fall under to get your CRS credits. And there are things online. So this is an example of how the credits can kind of break down for your outreach ones, okay? So it's got that OP for the outreach, where, first example, you got 3 brochures on flood insurance produced by FEMA are set out at City Hall lobby. Or, for example, I know a lot of people use the libraries, right? And so you got your points for the type of project, number of topics, that is, so that falls, what does that fall under? The first one. What topic?
Public information.
Number 2, right? Insurance. Insurance. So that's the type number, that's the type of topic. It's covering that topic of insurance. So you're getting a point for that. You're getting a point for how many it was delivered one time a year, because it's just the one time you put the brochure out. It's not how many times someone grabs said brochure. And then you have A times B times C. So you're getting 1 point. And this is just an example of the scoring breakdown if your community does not have a PPI. So obviously that adds like another multiplier in there for that. There are here, I'm gonna
Do number 3 as an example.
okay.
That's a really high earning.
So our outreach project number 3, presentations are made to 5 neighborhood associations each year with the messages under CRS topics 1, 4, and 5. 2 of the brochures are handed out and presented to everyone. So general outreach, 2 points per message. So you have your points per type of project, you have 2, you have 4 topics that are getting covered. It's getting delivered 5 times, so you're 40 points. That kind of, is this making sense with everybody? And online? Oh, no, okay. So can you all still see my screen?
Yeah.
What about now?
No.
Where is it?
Now we can.
Can you see? Are we still?
We can see Zoom. Yeah, you're in it. So just go to Excel now.
Can you guys see?
Now we can just see Zoom here. Okay, go back to Zoom and then do to your actual Zoom. Oh, you hit in your thing. There we go. Stop share. Yeah,
All right.
perfect.
Sorry about that, y'all. Thanks for being patient. Okay, so here's an example of the Excel spreadsheet that you can pull off to go through these kind of things, okay? So I can go down. But for
Enable editing.
what?
Enable editing.
Okay. All right, so here, that was an example of a table without the PPI. Here's an example of what FEMA provides to your community to get these credits, okay? So this is where you would input everything that you did. You have those outreach projects on the left, how you put your description, the points per topic, and then look, it's even got now the 6 topics that are covered. For a little easier to remember what they are, hazard, insure, people, property, build, and natural. It's a nice way to look at it. Does this match up with your PPI messages? And then you've got your multipliers over here. And remember that STK stands for stakeholder delivery. And so this is just for the outreach projects. Then if you go down to the bottom, you have your flood response preparations, same kind of deal. And then you also have for flood insurance, which is 370, which is another kind of credit. So, but this is available, like I said, to go to CRSresources.com, click under 330. That's where you'll be able to download this Excel spreadsheet.
We also have it on our website.
Yeah.
The CRS Workgroup's website.
Go back over. Okay. So has everybody got an idea? Do they feel comfortable with that and where they can find more information about how exactly the points break down? What kind of messaging we're looking for, what kind of examples? Oh, one of our favorites, as they put an example on here, do not dump drains to the river where our fish live. Stencils are sprayed onto the next storm drain inlet. I know we've had topics amongst our community about, having those medallions near the storm drains to communicate, that this goes out into your rivers and into our bay. Okay, so now a little bit of examples. We just talked about where these points fit in, how you can get points, how many points you can get as total for this activity, 330. So now we're going to go over a little bit of examples of some messaging that could be put on your outreach materials or said at meetings and everything. And this comes from the University of Ohio. They've been working on some flood messaging specifically for Appalachia, but these could apply. So we're going to go through these and we're going to say, yay, we like these, why we like them, and nay, I don't know if I don't like that. I don't know if that would be perceived well from the community. So, and feel free to, thumbs up, thumbs down in the chats. Or if you'd like to come off mute and if you've got a story to tell about communication, please do show this is show and tell today. So first one, protect people first.
Are we doing a CRS lens too?
Yeah.
Like, are people commenting on
Yeah.
whether they just like it or whether it will get points?
Both. Yeah. Think about it is, are you already doing that? Is this something you have and getting CRS credits for? And if maybe a CRS doesn't apply for you, do you like this messaging? Do you personally, would this work for you? As someone that lives somewhere where it floods. No one's got comments on protecting people first?
I was gonna say, the city of Newport News has, through our emergency management department, NN Alert. And so we have sensors all over the city. And so NN Alert and if you sign up, residents can sign up for a subscription, and you can do it for like marine warnings, you can do it for just flood watch, different things. It's a bunch of things you can sign up for. And anytime they'll notify residents, whoever has signed up. So that's one way of protecting people first, letting you know what's going on in real time.
And how do the residents find out about signing up for that alert?
It's published through our newsletter.
Okay.
But we also promote it at our different engagements, which I need to promote it more now.
Oh. Right.
Okay, in general, do we like this as a messaging?
Yeah.
Yes.
As opposed to like protect dogs first.
Protecting buildings.
Protect property first.
Yeah.
Protect property.
Yeah.
Protect your assets.
Die to protect your property.
Hey, well,
That's a G.
Brian, things we think in our head.
And say love.
There's a filter.
Good for you for a long time.
And Brian has none. It's gone.
okay, thanks. Yeah, but this does protect people first. Does this fit into one of our 6 messaging?
Yes.
Sort of.
know your hazard, protect. You know, don't, I mean, yes. Turn around, don't drown. Protecting the person first overlaps. Okay, let's move on to our next one. Smart preparations beats costly recovery.
I think it's an important message. I think you have to be very careful about how you say it because it's very condescending.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get that.
You know,
That's the
hindsight's 2020. Thanks for that.
this conversation, right? Because words, even 4 or 5 words, can come across differently to different people. And that's what we should be thinking of when we do our messaging, right?
Like, you didn't prepare, you must not be smart.
Thank you.
Never.
Yeah, it comes across as a little condescending.
So do you think it's smart is the problem for the word?
Yeah, I think it's the wording. I think the message that you're trying to convey isn't in those particular 5 words.
Yeah. Interesting. Oh, Luke.
Okay,
$1.
yes, Luke?
Certain areas, $1 of prep saves at least $4 in recovery. It could be something like that, where you can just.
Sure.
Oh, saved it.
Yeah, and especially if this message comes out often and early, I don't think it's condescending. One of the messages I find myself having to avoid that actually is a little condescending is, well, you shouldn't have bought property there, silly. That's a tough one to navigate.
I go back to fine.
But smart preparations and resilience pays for itself. I don't think that those are that bad.
What do you expect?
That's a great point.
Born and raised in Louisiana. What do you want me to say?
That is a good point.
Well, like preparing up front will save you money. That's a nicer thing.
Yes.
Yeah. I can speak from personal experience. If I would have had my stuff more organized, a lot of it wouldn't have gotten destroyed and not been fun to clean up.
Mhm.
So if I would have taken the time, which time is money, to smarter about where I place belongings in my house and had it on different racks, I would not have lost certain things. So smart preparations beats costly recovery. So what could this fit in one of the topics, or could it fit in one of the other topics?
Alyssa says, seems to fit and build responsibly.
To build responsibly, but also the one that one about check your property.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Property,
If it's a couple.
lot of times we think about ground, but really property is your personal property and everything.
Right,
That's
and
correct.
contents, right? And sometimes not all of your contents are gonna be covered under depending on whatever insurance claim that you have. You know, and it adds up. And right, and it's, some of it can't be measured, right? Like I said earlier about those photos or personal belongings, that cannot, there is no economic metric on that.
Years ago, I had worked in another locality and somebody's back shed got flooded when it was at a ditch behind their house. And it's kind of weird because the property actually slowed down. And he kept saying he lost his family. And I never understood what he meant by that for the longest time, until finally he told me that's where he had all his photos and all this like family stuff, history in that shed. And, you know, on the one hand, the good side of me thought, oh, that's too bad. On the other side, it was like, you know, come on, guy, you can see it's right there. You see this water flowing through you normally. And I think it was like during full weight or something.
But it's hard, right? Even like Luke just said about like, oh, I'm tired, somebody, you know, of hearing like, well, you shouldn't have built there or lived there. Sometimes we don't know all of the factors that are tied into that, or if that's someone's like tied with their family that they've got handed down. Like for him, you know, sometimes, yeah, you do set that stuff somewhere and you forget about it until it's too late because you have all of this other stuff going on in life. And so that's why our messaging can be really helpful, even though we're getting credits to better the community and get the insurance breakdown for our people. We're also helping with these other factors that are really bad for people's mental health after a flood.
Yeah, like in his case, they said the house was high and dry, but it's just the way the yard sloped.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that shed was just built right there next to the ditch.
Okay, I'm intrigued on how people feel about this next one that they suggested. Local control federal backup. Now, this doesn't necessarily fit in our CRS messaging, but I wanted to get a temperature on how people feel about this.
I'm triggered. Triggered right now.
I'm not, I love it.
There's not enough information. I need more than 4 words.
Well, I didn't, they have like sentences
Okay.
under each one, but for purposes for today, this is their overall flood messaging. Okay, hi Ben, what would you like to say about that one?
Hey, so this one I kind of feel like is not so good for working with the public. It's more like a tagline for us working with decision makers and with policy folks.
Yeah,
Right.
good point.
That's a good point, Ben.
Don't wait.
Okay, but
That's why we have that.
since we're talking
why
about
we have
anyways with decision makers, how do we feel about that as a messaging with working with our partners and decision makers?
I think we'd have to be somewhat careful how we present it, depending on your decision maker, or perhaps their point of view.
Yeah.
You have to know your audience.
I thought that was
Well,
very-
it's very similar to the
I had a subject there.
to the emergency management kind of tagline, right? Isn't that it's like locally implemented, state coordinated, and federally supported, right? Isn't that what they say? Something like that. But I do think that that's, when we've gone out and talked to folks, especially given, the current situation up in DC and in Richmond, and try to explain kind of, it's not FEMA's not coming in and making all these decisions. The state's not coming in and making it's local staff, local people that are actually doing the work, and that the state and federal agencies are the, assisting them in doing that, but that the work is being done locally.
Yeah.
But it is an important message for us to keep conveying, because I think a lot of people think that, the state just comes in or the feds just come in and, they parachute in or they fly in on their black helicopters and then they take over, but that's not how it works.
I like the concept of it, like Ben said. We know we're the boots on the ground. We know the people, the neighborhoods, the problem areas. What we need are resources. That's what the state and federal government can provide. And that's the backup part that I see. So maybe the words aren't exactly correct, but the concept's there in my opinion.
I like that. You guys saw from Brian. How about community controlled nationals?
Word control.
Maybe control is a little strong.
I'm not I'm saying dealing with residents, I can see them having an issue with the word control.
Robert, would you like to speak?
Yeah, I think Ben actually said something that works better, which is local or community implementation rather than control.
Or coordination.
Implement coordination.
Coordination. Coming together.
Locally coordinated,
Yeah. Locally
Yeah.
coordinated, national.
supported, nationally.
I like that.
Yeah.
Locally coordinated.
See, and this is why we discuss these things, because words are perceived different. Each
Words
person.
can hurt.
For CRS, I think that's really interesting as a message, and I don't know how it fits, but it could be like. It could be. Know your risk in a way. I mean, I guess that doesn't fit, but it's kind of like know what the outlook is gonna be, know what your support looks like, know what's going to happen to you after a flood.
It is similar to the insurance one, right? Because your,
Know
the
what
NFIP is minimums, and it's the federal sets up the system for that kind of, federal backed flood insurance. But it really is up to your local community to still be maintaining, stay in good standing. If they do put higher minimum standards, and what your actual risk is. Because like we said, the maps could be amended. The maps aren't always perfect. It can still flood outside of the federal maps.
Maybe it's billed responsibly, because like, from a recovery standpoint.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Okay. But another one that might not exactly fit in our CRS credits, but I think it's interesting words, is resilience pays for itself.
That could be billed responsibly.
That's number 2.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
really similar to number 2.
could be protecting a natural floodplain function.
That too, natural resilience pays for itself.
Resilience piece for it, so it's really, it's so interesting. Who came up with these?
I'll message him.
Yeah.
Report back. Because this is the thing, right? Like, as someone that has worked in a sociology, anthropology department at academia, we can sit here and talk about these words, but then we're not always the ones practicing them, right? But we could say, oh, this might come across better. That's why you really need the help from people practicing this all the time to come back and say, hey, I don't we all just want to work. Maybe control is not the best word to use. Because at the end of the day, we know our communities and we should know our communities. Anybody online have any things, thoughts, feelings about the resilience pays for itself? Oh, resilience is a community investment.
Yeah.
Really like that.
Has anyone
Okay.
read the U.S. Chamber of Commerce Foundation released a follow-up report from last year? Last year, they said every $1 invested in disaster preparedness saves $13 in future losses. And now the new number is, in the new sentence as well, I think it's important to keep the words, every $1 not invested in disaster resilience today can cost communities up to $33 in lost future economic activity. So the number keeps going up.
Yeah.
Can you send that
I think
out? That's the kind of hard fact that we need.
Yes.
You know, if I go and say something, it's like, where'd you get from? It'll be the first question.
Right.
Yeah, but I'm thinking about the way they reworded it, right?
Yeah.
And what we are experiencing. And so it went from cost benefit analysis to putting the benefits first. But now,
This is not real.
yeah, so fire. But now under the current administration is more not is focused in the. I'm trying to say it the right way.
Yeah.
It kind of seemed like it turned the tide with it. It's basically like, well, if you don't do anything, it's going to cost you more on the other end. It's kind of placing the emphasis up front on not doing anything. It kind of seems like it's in response to the executive orders that have been rescinded.
That's a good point.
But they put the benefits first when they changed benefit costs. And now,
Yeah.
like, so does that change the focus in any way?
Psychological.
That's what I'm.
Yes. But the apples to apples statistic is still the 1 to 13. And that still holds if you're keeping it as it was. $1 spent saves X dollars in recovery. This is a new alternative way to think about the costs of doing nothing. So that's how I'm thinking about it in my mind, because it's a deterrent to non-action, which the other one is too.
Hey, Diana, how you doing?
A psychological shift.
Hey, good. How's it going? What's up?
Someone online.
I just find it.
Richard Fit. I wanted to give you
I'm not gonna be aware that they're doing it.
one single comment. Is it the time to talk to you right now?
Yes.
We got Terrence's business.
Okay.
So yeah, I think that we're gonna stick with the language because people expect it to be cost benefit. And then use the sentence modified sentence as another thing to use.
I'd just like to have the references.
Yeah.
And that was, I can share this I think I can share this document, or I can share some of it to show what they kind of had underneath. This was the resilience pays for itself. That was the one they used the metric. They used the metric $1 to 13, or now $1 to 33.
Yeah, most people want that kind of.
It's an investment, right? You invest now, it's gonna save you. And this is my 2 cents. I think that dollar is undervalued still. A lot of the health stuff and the psychological things that go on with flooding, they are not being measured economically right now. So, and yeah, well, that's another discussion about hopeful studies. But anyways, okay, so resilience pays for itself. Okay. Next one, we can't stop every storm, but we can stop repeat disasters. Again, this one might not exactly fit in that CRS messaging, but as communities, how do we feel about this type of sentence? No thoughts?
Begs the question, what storms can we stop?
Can't stop every storm.
I'm just-
Storm can we stop?
I think we could say we cannot repeat driving our ass in Martin through water multiple times.
But they shouldn't say we can't stop every storm, that is
Any storm.
in and of itself.
Yeah,
Ryan with the smarts pointed it out. That is hilarious.
Was this article AI generated?
No, people made this.
This is what happens when we're siloed into different sectors.
Well, and I'm not sure we can stop repeat disasters.
I think.
Yeah.
Because no two storms are alike, no two,
Yeah,
you know,
sometimes things just break.
we were gonna
and
stop.
if it's coordinated with a high tide and a westerly wind, you know, you can't control.
And we can't stop it, so we manage their impact.
Yeah, we can reduce, but we can reduce harm,
Yeah,
like, you're not gonna stop it.
But we can prepare for them.
I'm not even sure we can manage the impacts.
Yeah, or, yeah, you could
You don't have
reduce
to.
the impact.
I like
Could reduce
that.
the impact.
Reduce the impact.
Yeah.
Like Helene, there was no stopping what that
Yes.
was.
they could have reduced the impacts in some areas with their building code though.
Right.
Like the River Arts District was next to the river,
Yeah.
you know, that,
That.
it's my, and I'm, it's very upsetting, but I think that's the, you know. We can
Mhm.
reduce the impacts and reduce, I mean, those were people's livelihoods and businesses and on. You know,
Yeah, this one is, that's super problematic.
yeah,
I think saying we can stop.
Mary Carson has
everything is-
spoken.
Well, I'm just saying, it is crazy. I didn't even, the first time I read it, I didn't think that.
well, example, if we're not flooding, but we've mentioned fire, I mean, it's not like you could stop another wildfire.
But storms happen, be ready. Storms.
Okay, so this, do we feel like out of all the ones we've talked about so far, this is the most problematic for messaging in no? Yes, and it does not fit into our CRS credit.
Don't say this ever to me.
Reduce impacts, manage them. Okay. Moving on, how fast, fix for good.
I don't even know what this one is saying.
Thank you.
This is referring to after a storm event happens, getting in, you know, getting there, getting in a timely manner. And then, but when you're going in and fixing some of these things, making sure it's gonna sustain, not just like putting a Band-Aid on it and being like, oh, it's, you know, it's done. That was what they put underneath of it.
Does fix for good imply it will never suffer damage ever again?
I feel like that's a promise you don't want to make.
Again.
Exactly.
That's a check I can't cash.
I mean, this partially could fit in build responsibly, right? I mean,
Yes.
as a credit
I
point.
still like it.
Fix for better.
Go.
Oh, bye, Daryl. Yeah, help us fix for good.
Well, and we're also not necessarily in control of how fast the help can get there. You know, we don't control the FEMA response.
Oh, so this,
Be there.
The local community, let me rephrase that, is not in control of.
builds.
Strong. Help fast, fix stronger. These are all good.
These are
Like,
great.
if in a perfect world. Wait, what is the Daft Punk song?
That's action, last.
Sounds like a goodie
Power hard.
goodie powder commercial.
Better.
So be careful.
We're not.
We can't
We're-
next to each other.
We perceive both ways. So they, another one, that might be the second worst one on this.
I'm not sure it really applies, but it's fun to discuss.
Oh my gosh, we have feedback from these people.
Yeah. Public Works, we're ready, are you?
Are you, are our public works already?
Ryan's like, I'm ready.
I'm ready. What? You're ready and.
Yeah.
Okay, so last one here, lower cost, fewer 911 calls.
What is this one?
I didn't-
This was also bad, when I read it.
I don't,
This had to deal with making sure things in the community were like, roads and everything are good to go. So that 911 is not being used to go out during storm events. And costing the community more because they need more emergency management, technically. This was a fully, emergency management related one and. That's cool.
Can't
Don't like
promise
it.
any of this stuff.
Nah,
Don't promise not.
lower costs, we can't.
Lower cost for what?
Fewer crank 911.
They were relating this to taxes.
Oh.
Interesting.
Because you think about it, if the community keeps growing, you have to have fire service, police, say, that comes into your taxes if they gotta build a new fire station, and then have the staffing for that, and then all of that goes along with it. Right,
There's
I'm sorry, I use North Carolina all the time, but like prime example is down in Outer Banks, right? Like, they gotta build a new fire station because they have to be prepped for how big those houses are. Because they're rentals. And so they have to continue to have the money, the tax base, and to do that, to do so.
There's good feedback in the chat.
It's not a good tagline and it takes a whole paragraph to explain it. Love that. Agreed, bingo.
Yeah, bingo.
Yeah, I agree with that too. It feels very unrelated.
Yeah.
Right? It feels very like, what are we talking about?
Well, I'll email them back and let them know.
Yeah, we have,
That Virginia
tell them to
community.
watch this video.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
yes.
I feel like people
Send
don't
them a
want to see, to down, yeah.
Oh, that's what I was
The
thinking.
downsize
Fewer
911.
this. I was thinking that someone would be there to pick up with it.
These are, these are the exact words that are
Yeah.
what they have bolded in.
Yeah, there's so many ways that could be interpreted.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
most of them are not good.
Yeah, we should never send them the videos. But we do have feedback.
Okay. So overall, another nay.
Nay.
But was this helpful in kind of working through? Because, right, we, on our brochures, y'all put like short messages at the top and then have more information.
Mhm.
Is this the kind of thing that y'all are thinking of when you're making your 330 materials?
Do you have a room full of people who are cheeky?
Well, I was going to ask, were these intended to be like standalone phrases or like, because I feel like a lot of them require explanations so you understand the context of the words.
You know what? Let's just pull it up. Why don't we do that?
So some of them might make more sense as a summary if it's,
Yeah.
a one-line summary of a paragraph of text. I think is different than like a tagline that's meant to say something.
I think if it's a tag.
Church office.
Oh, wow. We can send around the thing.
Yeah.
Because I know these are a lot, but
Yeah, okay, yeah, I'll send it around. I thought I could easily pull it up, but I don't think I'm sharing it.
Not yet, no.
It's not.
We're working with Red Shop right now to get more because we're updating some materials. But we'll let you know when.
yeah, we just are showing this.
Okay.
I know, I'm sure.
Yeah, if you are interested in more on what Ohio has pulled together, contact me. Because I'm not quite sure if I can share the Word document because they shared me on. Thanks, Matt, for coming in and listening. All right, so now finally on to examples. Here is an example that is in part with the HRPDC, and this is from City of Chesapeake. On fill up on flood facts. How do we feel that is a tagline? Right? Anywhere it can rain, it can flood. I personally think that's one of the better of messaging. You know, so what topic does this fit under under our 6 topics?
Protected property. Knowing the hazard.
Knowing the hazard. A little bit about insurance, right?
Protected,
Yep, protecting people and property. Turn around, don't drown.
Yep.
How do we visually like this brochure?
I love it.
Yeah.
And we hand them out at all our.
Yeah. Looks good. There's not too much going on. The important stuff is bolded. Those taglines, like we just talked about, good and bad taglines, those are bolded. There's spots where you can find more information.
And ISO, for anyone who's new, ISO vetted this through the CRS work group, working with HRPDC. And so we know that if you are using this in your community, like Newport News hands it out at all their events, clearly the city of Chesapeake modified it for their website. Everybody's getting credits for these. And I think that we ended up with 4 messages on it, which is good. So don't invent the wheel. Use what we have where you can. This is HR Hampton Roads specific. But you can use the language.
And there are more resources like this. There's a whole toolkit on getfloodfluent.org if you want other resources that you can just link on your locality pages, or resources like this, flyers and rack cards and things.
I think that's good because I don't think some like residents would know to go to the HRBDC. They'd probably know to go to their locality the most, right? Okay, anyone online? It is now time for show and tell. Did anyone come with their messages?
I did. I brought a few things.
Yeah.
Ready?
Yay!
I'm just passing out my stuff and everybody's just ripping it to shreds is the only thing to look at. No, but I did break some things. We have a presentation on tomorrow evening. And so we already had everything in bags and such, so I had it for us.
Okay, awesome. Do you want to share them? I guess with the.
Not really, now that I know nobody else.
We are very impressed by your,
She actually read the email for last night.
And my supervisor reminded me.
I thought Mike would.
The supervisor, I was in there talking to her about one thing and then she reminded me. Can you just dig through that? So I brought a bunch of stuff. We do a lot of engagement sessions in the public. There's a contractors fair at one of our community centers today, so I will stop by there too. That's another reason why I have this.
Yes.
So at our events, we have these. And of course, I have this, so I hand this out everywhere. We're now,
Let me
Get you some.
I'm not modeling this.
Well, yeah, I can hold it. Okay.
All right, so at our engagement sessions and events, we have these rec cards. We're now partnered with the Conservation District for VCAP, so we hand out a lot of VCAP things. We have the fill up on flood facts that she was just showing. I think it was Mary Carson said, don't reinvent the wheel, use what's already available. So we use a lot of the FEMA publications. We also have some in Spanish, I believe.
Yep.
So we have the different ones. We have them for owners and renters, because renters don't know that they can get the flood insurance as well for the contents of different things. Well, for the.
And you get the points for Spanish.
Yeah.
Yes, so we do hand out a lot of Spanish as well. I put it with a bunch of stuff. So this is one of our newsletters. Monthly, we have newsletters go out on monthly, our communications department in here is some of the things that we've been doing. It's a picture of us at schools doing engagement along with a lot of flooding information.
So you all actually create.
Yes.
Every month.
Yeah.
That's great.
We have the newsletters each month, and it's talking about some of our stormwater master planning as well. And again, I brought this stuff because we have something scheduled. Also, she showed the fact sheets. We have a bunch of different fact sheets that are all tied to the 6 topics. So this one is fence requirements in the floodplain. A lot of people don't know they build their fences on the ground. They don't want to get permits. There's issues with that. We try to promote that. Building responsibly, that was one of the topics. Planning for changing climates. Number 1 on the list is, do you know your flood risk? So we have these, we hand out at all our sessions and things. And I bought a bunch of them if y'all want to take some.
Did you create?
No, I understand.
Yeah, so we,
This is not feasible.
no, we worked on this. As part of our master planning, we realized, as like she did with the PPI and everything, going through, we need these things, and then we did to adhere to it. We have some myths and things. People always have myths like the city's responsibility to clean all the pollution, and then we speak to what the truth is. Some stormwater comment forms. We have these comment forms that we hand out at our engagement sessions. There's another one on flooding. And for a lot of information on flooding, you try to make it big and easy to see and read, but you get a lot of good information. I don't know if easements are tied to one of the topics, but we do hand out information on easements because a lot of residents don't understand. You know, they think because you have an easement there, it's your property, it's the city's property, and the city should come through. So we created a fact sheet for that. Nature-based solutions, I think this is number 6 on the topic.
Yep, protecting your natural floodplain.
Yes, so we have information on that. Design now for future effects, changing conditions. We were careful to work on our wording, so we changed, design it now for future conditions.
Great point, because we're about to talk about that with the CRS manual changes, so that's a great point.
And we have some other things over there. I can show some more.
These 2 4 words, that's like a perfect example of how to say one of those ones that wasn't good.
Yes.
Better.
And I can share these electronic. I wish I had done it ahead of time, and then she could have been showing it up there. So
Do it next time.
yeah, and so yeah, as far as taglines and wording, this one says flood savvy, flood safe, things like that.
That's so good.
And we give these to we hand them out at engagement sessions, but also our annual letters that go out, we sent them to realtors so they can speak with their clients about it. That was actually how this was developed. From our PPI committee.
How do you feel like it's been received so far? Like, does anybody say like, oh, this is helpful, or oh, I wish I knew about this?
We did a presentation at VPAR, the Virginia Peninsula Association of Realtors, and they love it. Realtors, they like it. What else? Just more FEMA publications and swag. Jay brings some things.
Awesome. Wow. Okay, does anybody online have anything or want to share an image in the chat? Or talk about any pros and cons that they have gone through with implementing communication?
Really strong.
Any words that you've used that have gotten to take away because they were not appropriate? Perceived well?
I think we had one time we sent out it might have been rep loss letters or something. I think that was the one. And then someone said our language was like scary and was making them fearful. Except I don't think it was, because then we had our communications person for the city look at it and they were like, no, that's fine. So it was one complaint out of like 9,000, but that was a issue that we had that showed up from some of our outreach.
Some people are gonna get scared.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I didn't, because we don't have enough time, but there are examples of social media and how to use social media in the manual and on that CRS resources as well. Now, some communities have the capacity to have someone who just does social media. And then some communities might only have where someone's doing multiple tasks, and social media is one of them. And it is a lot of work to get stuff communicated out. And where do you put it? Because some people are on Facebook, some people are on Instagram, some people are on, I don't even know, is TikTok getting used to convey flooding? I have no idea.
Oh, but that's a good point.
Probably, yeah.
That's a question I'm gonna find out about. I'm gonna dig more
We've
into
done
it.
a little.
But to that point, we have a flood hazard outreach social media plan,
Oh, awesome.
and we follow it each month, and we work with our communications team.
Newport News. Woo!
It's a master plan, and a lot came from this master.
I love it.
Tell the difference between a city that has several people and a county that has.
Yes.
Yeah. So what are some things that could be helpful for smaller localities? Like what resources, what would be helpful?
For public outreach,
Yeah.
actually, that's probably the one piece of Gloucester that we do have pretty well covered, because we already have a PPI. We do have a community engagement, public information. I'll say a team of two, but they're really on top of it. So I think for probably, additional information we could ever get or obtain, certainly would work with them. But I think for that, we're actually pretty good at it. It's probably one of my more places I'm more confident.
What about, since, we've seen a lot of, and this happens in the western part of the state, like turnover with staff, is there like stuff in place to make sure that kind of community engagement or like the links with the community is going to get turned over to a new person?
Well, he's been threatened not to look up. Short answer is yes. I mean,
Okay.
he's got a number two person. I mean, they would both have to leave to be, you've got to be a huge loss.
Yeah.
But, and I am the floodplain administrator for the county. So I need to get more involved. It's just all the other balls I'm doing, it just hasn't really happened. So, so I don't. I guess that's about it.
Guys, I think that's an important part too, is, you have people that were involved and they're trusted in the community. And if they go, as a person coming into the role, you might have to rebuild back up that trust. So making sure you have that turnover prepared is really good, especially in especially in a smaller locality too,
But I mean, the reality in Gloucester is we were without any kind of engineering department, so to speak, for a couple of years. The last person that left, it took a while. We finally had hired somebody to do some part-time project management, but all the other things that you do kind of fell by the wayside. Trying to have deputy county administrators.
Chris, are y'all maxed out with your points?
Yeah.
For 330?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah. That's a lot. Is there any more show and tell, or does anybody else have any questions about the 330 activity for now? Okay, with that, it's time for a poll.
Gotcha.
Oh, my polls are not. Poll is not there.
And then select all, just in case all types, and then we'll still do modify.
No, I start them. Okay, we're gonna come back to this in a sec. Well, to me, I want to make sure y'all get your credits. If you are a CFM, answer this question. Do you feel your locality is prepared to message for a storm, it was either yes or no. So if you are a CFM, answer in the chat right now, please, so I can make sure you get your credits.
Alyssa Flat, just while we're waiting, says that she uses a calendar to manage what CRS activities and messages go out and follow up with whoever on staff implements them monthly. So if there is staff turnover, the new people get updated.
Yeah, we use a calendar as well in Excel. Excel, you can create annual calendars.
And that's cool.
Yeah, and we keep, whatever that date was, that activity was on that date.
That is great.
Okay, thank you guys so much. We're gonna move on. Apologies about that. But I wanna make sure you get your credits. Okay, so the CRS manual. This has now been updated, and this went into effect, September 15th of this year. So what does that mean? Do you, as your CRS coordinator person, do you need to go read the whole manual? So you do not. Unless you want to get an update, or you're being interviewed. So here are kind of the quick overview of the changes. They edited certain language and activity characteristics to ensure compliance with the administrative priorities. AKA sea level rise the term sea level rise was taken out. So that's and climate things with climate change, changing climate, words were changed around. So this manual combines the 2017 manual, the 2021 addendum, and then the 2023 supplement. It is now all in one document. It gives the most current NFIP rating methodology, and it updated activity 450, the watershed master plan, by removing sea level rise as a requirement to align with executive orders and current federal policies. Talk about a little bit more about that in a moment. Okay, so here are the key findings. And this, if you're interested where I got these words, they come from a memo that is on the CRS resources online. And where you go click the new manual, they'll put a memo about the changes. So key class 1 prerequisite, manage sea level rise was removed. So activity 320, the flood depth data map information element, MI3 was advised to credit extreme high tides to ensure no communities lose credit. I also want to reiterate that there's no one going to lose credits. This change in the manual is not affecting anyone's current credits right now, is what it says.
So they're calling sea level rise curves extreme high tides. Oh, yeah.
We're just walking around the big scary term sea level rise. Activity 450, that credit criteria for that watershed master plan were modified by replacing the sea level rise requirement with a tailwater elevation equal to mean sea level plus 3 feet or a higher elevation determined by the community.
Hold on 1 second before we go down.
Is this going to be a barrier for us to figure out? Or is the work that the HRPDC did to look at tailwater elevations for
Design
standards something that we can use?
That would be a slightly different application for it, but I feel like the data is probably in some design standards.
Right.
We just have to pull it out.
Okay.
I mean, that's something we could look into.
Yeah, I think that's a TBD discussion for this group. Because, or it happens offline and then it's presented. Because we could do a show of hands, but many of our coastal communities in the CRS are getting WMP 1 credit, right? I mean, it's just Oh, no, that's just for watershed master planning. Right. Okay, so that's only.
We don't get it.
No, you don't get it.
Okay. Brian asked, will communities need to revise their local ordinance codes to match?
Think so. Wait, you won't?
No,
Oh.
I don't think so.
I don't think so right now, no.
We need to do a deeper dive on who is actually affected. Flood depth data, MI3, I think people are getting MI3 credits. But the stormwater master plan, that's y'all, Chris, and Norfolk has a watershed master plan, I think.
I think we're kind of in the process of one. We have actually a meeting with the consultants later today, which at the last meeting we were at a month. I don't remember if it's monthly or bi-monthly.
Yeah, I meant to highlight my snippet that I sent you. So the 3555 East Williamsburg Road is the permit address, but then the parcel address has a 5141.
Okay.
It's all good. But we have a meeting with our consultants later today. I know at the last meeting they had basically finally finished all of the data part of it. And we're going to proceed to the next kind of like wrapping it up, but I don't know if that's once we meet with them if they're gonna have to edit any of the things that they've done so far. So I'll figure that out at 1 o'clock today and see how it goes. I sent them the new like updates and changes, but I haven't heard anything from them, so I'm sure we'll discuss it today.
Be good to get a report out from you, Alyssa, just with maybe us first and then.
Yes, definitely.
Thank you.
Yeah, we will have a continued discussion over this, given that, you know, this, what has it been, 10, almost 10 days since this went into effect, but I just wanted to bring it to everybody's kind of attention.
I think they kept using also instead of like saying sea level rise or anything else, they kept saying fully developed land use, which I think just has to do with that tailwater elevation. But
that is a great that's a great point as we go on to the other changes that were are noted for the manual. So they removed Appendix D, history of the CRS essentially, and it will be on FEMA's website. They removed outdated forms, appendices E and F, and now direct users to the website. They removed an updated broken links. They revised references to website contact info. I kind of had to chuckle on the contact info because it's like, are you being on there? They're really going to put people that we're actually going to be able to contact with on there. I don't know, but you know, they updated CRS statistics and data that we will dive into as when we have more time at the future. You know, practice of our last meeting of the year as well. Updated all the insurance references to reflect changes to the implementation of the current NFIP approach. And then, yeah, this was a big one at the bottom, replaces future conditions with fully developed land uses for clarity. So, does anyone have any questions, or is there anything that you would like us to get more clarity for you and bring to you either offline or at the next CRS meeting? Anybody online?
To Brian's comment in the chat, I believe that everybody's language can stay the same at the local level. It is the CRS language that is changing, and the ISO agents will use the new language. But it's just making a bridge between what language other people are using and the language of the CRS. So we will get clarity on that from CRS, you know, national. But this should not dictate how local governments talk about this stuff. That would. Anything can happen right now, but that would be a shock. Be just really kind of, disruptive, right? So we'll get clarification.
And we do have a new ISO if people are not aware. Danielle DeHart, she could not be here today or be here virtually as well because of scheduling conflict, but she hopes to introduce herself at the next meeting.
What's your first name?
Danielle.
And Danielle DeHart or DeHart, she is a Virginian, y'all. She is from Roanoke. She used to work for, I believe, Roanoke County. I hope that it's not the city and I'm incorrect, but she was in charge of the CRS program for them and got poached by ISO, probably because she kicked butt in a review, you know what I mean? And so now she's been working with ISO and she's finally assigned to Virginia, but she's been at ISO for a few years. So this is good news.
So she replaces Emily Schmidt.
And I've been on some meetings with her with City of Chesapeake while they're working to get more points to go on the class. And so they've been having a good working relationship to ensure getting the points and ensuring that we can move our, that the CRS is happening and that, we're getting our communities the discounts they deserve for everyone's hard work with all of these credits.
I think we got.
I reached out to a Garrett Beamer.
He was temporary.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did he not get back to you?
Yeah, he did. That's why I was, but okay.
Temporary, yeah, they just were. Gigi knows, I guess they announced it. Very recently.
Yeah, it's been recent.
I just have a maybe quick question, if
Yeah.
now's not the time, just, that's fine. But like, hey, Gloucester is scheduled for our audit in 2026. So do we know if those are gonna move forward, are they on hold, and we are?
We haven't heard that they won't move forward.
They weren't like Chesapeake's, they were supposed to have their site visit yesterday, was scheduled for yesterday. A site visit did not happen, but all of their credits are getting looked over right now and trying to get more, yes.
So it's better off go ahead and prepare, sounds like.
Yes.
Make sure.
If you have the capacity to prepare and can document, I know. To prepare and have this and documentation. And if it's again, the manual has like exactly what the documentation needed for these different credits if you have questions. But I will make sure Danielle's email will get shared out to everybody with our our CRS email going out.
I appreciate that, because I'd like to reach out, see if there's any idea if it's getting, and that'll.
And hopefully she'll be on the next call.
Yeah, she just had a scheduling conflict today.
That's
correct.
Yeah, November 9th.
I want to find it.
Oh, yeah, I think you should reach out. Yeah, I would reach out sooner rather than later. Help with timeline wise.
You should be that.
Yes. Yeah. Okay, any other comments or concerns about these manual changes or stuff you would like to know more of that we can get for y'all? Okay, with that, we'll move on. Let's see. This is a question for the poll. Do you understand the changes to the CRS manual? I'm going to see if the poll will work. Oh. Sure. Okay, that's weird. Okay, for my CFM people, please put yes, no, or I would like more in the chat. So I can make sure you get your CECs. Thank you. Apologies for the broken poll. Yep, we will continue to discuss this at the next meeting. Anybody in the room, how you feeling?
Senator content.
What?
All these people that say they feel like good, I'm gonna go to content.
Yeah. That you might not know, but you know who to ask.
How does Ford do my?
There you go.
You know, never ending circle.
Okay, moving on here, I'm just gonna briefly go over 3 federal bills that are coming up that relate to all our work with flooding and resiliency. Okay, so there is this, the FEMA Act of 2025, Fixing Emergency Management for Americans, Bill 4669. It's a bipartisan bill. I am just putting brief, we don't have time to really go into these in detail, but I'm just putting these down, you know, as part, so people are aware, and if they're wondering if they're going to support or comment for this, if they're even able to. Okay, so establishing FEMA, keeping it as a cabinet level independent agency. Public assistance reform, reducing barriers to federal support, individual assistance, practical supports for disaster survivors, proactive planning for long-term resilience, transparency and accountability tools for public to track and inform. This, I can send out more information about what goes on under all of these, but there's things that are related to debris management and how that happening, bridges underneath this bill, making sure that there's still that vulnerable communities are getting the resources that they need, that there is an emphasis to support those communities and so forth. So if you would like more information or would like a fact sheet on this, please reach out to me and I will send it your way if you want more information about this bill. Okay.
How bipartisan is it? Or is it just? Or is it like there's one person?
I think it's more than just one person from one side, from what I gathered.
Yeah.
So it seems to be pretty bipartisan. I mean, unfortunately, Texas, those floods have now, I think, made it clear that things have to be. I think the discussion, it's a more open discussion than it was prior to this administration coming in, I guess.
But this is not directly from the FEMA review council.
No.
Okay, that's, this is not an administration bill.
No.
Or 21 co-sponsor is all bipartisan.
Okay, yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Ian.
That's helpful.
Okay, so there are 2 clear acts out. This is one that should be on our radar. This one, okay, because there's another one. This one was from actually last year, this Championing Local Efforts to Advance Resilience Act. So this would establish a program at the Department of Housing and Urban Development for state resilience offices and comprehensive resilience planning at the state level. So this is TBD. This could come back out this week, actually, to be back to being introduced, though I'm not sure with everything going on in the government potentially shutting down. Probably not, but just to keep on people's radar about this having resiliency offices. Okay. Who's sponsoring it? And the last one, this is a bipartisan act, this Road to Housing Act of 2025. So this includes 40% provisions related to housing supply, homelessness, manufactured housing, disaster recovery, home ownership, rural housing, program reform, veterans housing, and oversight and coordination of housing programs and agencies. I just brought this one to everyone's attention because of the second bullet about it incorporates provisions from the Reforming Disaster Recovery Act to permanently reauthorize the Community Development Block Grant Disaster Recovery Program. Yeah, once again, does anyone have any comments about these 3, or if they would like more information, please reach out to me. Ian, do you have any comments?
It's under my understanding that the CDBG-DR, the section 51, 54A prohibition of flood insurance also applies to this program. But I don't know if HUD is the one that clarifies that they are not giving disaster money to places that have lapsed on flood insurance, or if that is the responsibility of probably DHCD in this case, because that will be the partner state agency. I can look into it.
Just bringing these up for everybody's attention as it's going to come, eventually relate to disaster and flooding and resiliency. All right. Anybody else want? Oh, why is it? Okay. All right. This is just a reminder that the Revolving Virginia Resilience Fund, is going to pop back up. So for anyone on this call that is towards the center or the west part of the state, these are the counties that can apply for this funding for this round that is supposed to open in October, because these were from Hurricane Helene and the storms that Governor Youngkin declared back that happened earlier this year. So this is just a reminder that this for everyone to know that, and what we have been told is that this specific round of RVRF is for those communities that were affected by these storms. RVRF in the future, though, could look different and could be available to more communities. So it's just something to be thinking about in the back of your minds when thinking about available funding, and knowing that RVRF can be a match for the Community Flood Preparedness Fund, the CFPF. With that, CFPF rounds, we've been told that round 6 was going to open anytime right now. I hope everyone is aware and prepared. If you have any questions about it, please reach out to us at the CFPF@wetlandswatch.org email. Part of this is that, if the community does, you have to have a resilience approved DCR resilience plan to get into project funding. That it takes they have to be approved for at least 30 days before you can apply, for more funding. So this is what's going on right now, is making sure some of these resilience plans are approved so that localities have access into project funds. Does anybody have any CFPF related questions right now?
I know you said the opening is right. Any word on when the deadline might be?
Will be a 45-day period.
Okay, because they threw out during the webinars like the 17th, so that has some people, my jurisdiction, still holding on to that, but I can't tell them it's going to be based on what it is.
They have some other work in regards to resilience plans that probably need to be done first before they open this round. But
CCR online.
What?
Anybody
CCR
from
online.
PCR online? Woo!
I think Stacy is. Oh, Stacy, wait, what she just said.
Sorry, we do not have exact dates this time. Thanks, Stacy. We're still
Yeah, and Tom, your question about waiting for paperwork on the last round, VRA hopes to get those agreements out at the end of this week, if not next week. They hit some kind of snag with some language, but they're coming.
That's helpful, Stacy. Thank you.
Thank you, Stacy. All right. Any other questions? Feel free to message us, and we will try and do our best to get the stuff, what's going on with these start communicated out. We want to make sure our communities get the funding to do these projects. All right. And Ben said they're also waiting. Okay. So, last CRS meeting, you remember we asked everybody about, we know that a lot of people are interested in becoming a certified floodplain manager, getting that CFM certification next to their name. We were not able to get the class, and we apologize. There was a lot of things going on outside of at Wetlands Watch control and BFMA's control. And so I went for the class that they have that is prepares you in part to take the CFM, which is up at the Emergency Management Institute. It's also where the National Fire Academy is in Emmitsburg, Maryland. And I thought I would just give some pros and cons of it if there was anybody interested in taking, you know, going for almost a week and sitting and actually concentrating on learning just NFIP and to some extent some of the CRS.
Just the 273.
Yes, this is the 273 class. So you have to take like a prerequisite class essentially online to apply to go to EMI. It's a short like hour and a half, basically about ethics and codes of staying in a dorm and going back on the way first day. Emmitsburg.
But it was short. I mean, it was like
it's very
an hour.
Yeah, it's very short. It's very short. Pretty much over procedures of being back on a dorm, right? This is on an old college campus that got you know, taken over by emergency management, essentially to have. So I went, the drive is the drive for us, depending on where you are in Virginia, because of traffic, right? So you go up, they traditionally have it, you would go up on Sunday, you have class Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday from 8 to 5, and then, you know, leave the next day. Some people, I mean, if you have your car, you could leave that night on Thursday night if you wanted to, or you can go on Friday. Oh, okay, Tom, expect to gain 10 to 15 pounds. The food is awesome and plenty of it. Yeah, there's a lot of food. There's a lot of food. For my personal pros, I would say the networking was a lot, and it was very interesting to hear about other communities. There was a range of people. We had people that were CFMs that were going just to go take this class. We had everything from somebody who sat next to me who was changing career fields that did not know that was becoming their county's like everything. Their county's floodplain administrator, building code, everything. And so we had a range, and it was really great to talk to people. We took a pre and a post test over, you know, everything. Now they discuss what kind of questions are going to be on the CFM, but they still explain that there are other documents to go through to study to actually pass. But the networking was really great. I mean, we had people from Alaska, 2 people from Alaska in my class. I sat next to some people from Manatee County, Florida. We're talking about the struggles of like moving their CRS community from a class 5 to a class 4 and taking that jump. So I made contacts with them and going to talk to them about how we can help other, you know, we have a lot of class 5s, how we could, you know, help potentially get to a 4. You know, that's if that is even feasible, depending on capacity of staff and other things. So you really just get to focus on learning the NFIP. You get a giant binder with all the information. If anybody wants to see that or wants a Xerox, let us know. Mine's highlighted, tagged all the way up. The cons, you do have to travel away. That might not be available for everyone to go. Preset dining. I mean, I'm somebody that eats a lot of steak, eggs, and bacon. So the dining is good. I mean, it's you know, wherever you work, obviously it is still a cost because you have your travel, your hours, you're there, and the dining credit in the dining hall. They do have a soft serve ice cream machine though, but not like, let me tell you, I was so excited. But yeah, like Tom said, yeah, you can get funds. Your lodging is obviously covered, and you have your room by yourself. You're not going to share with somebody, personal bathroom. There is a little like hub on site as well. It's right next to a basilica, which is kind of cool to go see in the little town.
And the dining is how much? It's like $250 or something.
Yeah.
It's super inexpensive, and it is a cafeteria.
And it is a lot of food, and they do have a lot of options too.
So this is all through the EMI.
Yes, yes. So if you are interested and this is available to you, I would recommend doing it, especially because of the networking too, and really getting to learn from other communities on how they've handled some of the stuff.
Is anyone aware of any online training? I've never seen a 273 before, so I'm assuming they didn't do it.
ASF has some test training, like practice
Yeah.
tests like that.
Yeah, they still have karaoke, Tom. It's very entertaining. But you're close to like Gettysburg too, so I mean.
The FMA is discussing how to be supportive of Virginia CFM interested people. And there are some online opportunities that are being explored.
Okay.
So yes.
Because it'd be nice, even if it wasn't all 4 days, but just some.
Oh, yeah, it's not.
Fresher, I mean,
Right.
involved in it, you gotta know a lot anyway.
Yeah, especially people who are in doing it.
But still, I feel more comfortable to have a little bit of refresher.
Yeah.
Especially if they would count them towards CEUs.
Yeah.
That'd be good too.
More
Because they're very particular about what counts as a CEU for your CFM versus people who also have AICPs or PEs and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
TBD. We're working on it. This is a continued conversation that we're having. So we know it's not available to everybody to go travel away for essentially.
And they also, in addition to 273, they also do the CRS class.
278, yeah.
Yes.
And that is a really good, that's a really good class.
278 was your class.
Yeah, I think it's more aligned with what you need to know to be a CRS coordinator. Than that, maybe than the.
273, yeah.
Yeah.
Very abstract.
Yes.
That took 270.
Okay.
It's good, it's a really good one.
If anybody else has any other questions about that, please feel free to email me if you want, to have a conversation about it offline. And I'll be in the process of trying to get studying for the CFM, so I'll be able to tell you all, by the end of the year, how helpful it was for taking the test. Other exciting things going on. It's our high tide season. Woo, King's Tide time. Okay, so if you're interested in catching the King Tide, please follow these steps, or you can reach out. We have a new full-time Catch the King person, and I have her email. Her name is Stephanie, and I have her email on one of the last slides of our meeting today. So October 10th and 12th. So even if you're not going to be able to go out and do this, or you can and figure out the app, just know in your community, that's when the high tide is going to be. Other upcoming events. We have the Dutch Dialogues is happening from November 4th to 7th at the Norfolk waterfront.
Sorry, I'm trying to send you this. I'm gonna send this to you.
Okay. And this is really going over resiliency, sea level rise. It's a multi-day event, and if cost is prohibited, if someone wants to go and cost is prohibited, please contact us.
There's a government rate of $250 for the several days event. And then without that early bird, I think it's like $350 or something. The planning committee is looking for sponsorship. So if you are a private sector person and or a local government that does things like sponsor conferences, please reach out to me and I'll be happy to send you a sponsorship flyer. This is the 10th anniversary of the Dutch Dialogues. It is not another Dutch dialogue. So this is assessment of what happened 10 years ago, where we have gone in the past 10 years, and where we're going in the next 10 years. So it is going to be jam-packed, full of great information, and it is not kind of just all presentations. There's a lot of interactive component and a lot of kind of workshopping and trying to work together on how to move forward. So any questions that you have, reach out to me, but Gigi will send out the information on registration with that sponsorship flyer as well. But do plan to attend, because it's the local government staff who are doing all of this work. And so your voice is the most important to be heard.
And then there, if this might be of interest to anybody, but the Chesapeake Bay Foundation, they're having a webinar on green infrastructure. This is completely free. I'm also going to send this registration out in the chat, but it's Wednesday, October 8th from noon to 1. So in case anybody just wants a little more information on green infrastructure, that's available for you and for free. Okay, so we have just a little bit time left in our meeting. So everybody, if they would like to bring up their good news, or also please take this time, if there is a topic that you would like more information on, please let me know as I am planning out and trying to get speakers and other things. If there's anything you can think of, if you are gonna, I will say the one thing, Thomas Rupert, they are gonna come back and we're gonna go more into the no adverse effect guide in the new year. Since we just briefly went over that at our last meeting. So online, if you have any news or have any thoughts on other meeting topics, please go ahead and speak up. Oh my God, you guys, it's Wednesday. The sun is shining.
You gotta call.
Come on.
Just go around the room.
All right, fine, we're going to the room. You guys online are silly. All right.
I'll go first. James City County, we are working with Flowcom and Rise. Ben McFarland put us in touch with them from the PDC, and we thank him for that. They're doing a pilot project for us on insurance costs. We hope to use that to sway our leaders to help us go to a class 4 or 3.
I think that sounds like an excellent, once you do that topic, to come back to the CRS workgroup.
So
yes,
we'll see how that pilot project goes. We did complete our 5-year cycle review and got the final paperwork back in April. We are still a 5-star community with the prerequisite still missing to get to a class. We have enough points to be a 3.5. There are no 3, so it'll be a 4. So so that's it for James City.
Newport News, we're still master planning. We're finalizing some resilient plans, and we've adopted the PPI and different things. We are in partnership, but I say this at every meeting because I want to remind people, we're in partnership with the Conservation District to administer VCAP locally. And we received, I think, Tom, someone asked the question earlier if they received their paperwork from the last round of CFPF. We have, and we did receive a grant to begin the Flood Ready Homes program, where we'll, over a 3-year period, a 3-year study to assess local residences and provide them with parcel level mitigations. And our hope is that as we get this information for the first 50 homes per year, that we'll go back for a grant to install the recommendations and mitigations. Because people, we're going to provide the technical information, and then we hope to provide the financial assistance and the implementation as well. And we were recently increased to a class 6. We just got our update.
So when will those discounts go into effect?
October.
Oh, so great, in the middle of hurricane season.
Yeah.
So that is awesome. That is awesome.
This is Brian from Gloucester, since you stereo. The main thing I just want to mention is that although we haven't gotten our paperwork yet, we did through the middle of the plan district receive an award on round 5 CFPF for some shoreline stabilization and sand replenishment at our one and only beach in the county. Part of why I think that's kind of it's a good thing, because one thing our residents do talk about is access to the water, and so few actually have it. This is the only public beach we have that people really can enjoy, and it needs. All I will say, because I know it being recorded, people can hear me, is the beach is not in the best shape right now, and this will certainly hopefully help not only restore it now, but protect it.
I have a few PVC updates to share too. So we have a coastal resiliency committee meeting this Friday, at the PDC. It's in person this month. So if you are available, or if you're planning to come, we'll see you there. And then, we also have another, meeting to discuss our flooding sensor network that we'll have on October 9th. So I know I've been in touch with a lot of you about that project, but we'll be providing an update on Friday. But briefly, we've met with 13 localities, about that project. We went all over Hampton Roads. And that is a CFPF round 6, grant that will be funding that work too. And as Ben said, we're still waiting on our contract for that. But if you have not sent me back your candidate sites, we're collecting those, and would be helpful to have them for the October meeting. So we've gotten them from a little over half now. So lots of sites to look at. And that is it. Oh, one more thing, sorry. Regional PPI, you've probably also heard from me about that. I've emailed a lot of you. We've gotten interest from 5 of our communities in participating in that effort. I know James City County is one of them. And so again, if you haven't heard from me, maybe I emailed someone different at your locality, but you are interested in that, then definitely reach out.
I need to contact our PPI guy.
Okay.
So,
And sorry. Speaking of the regional PPI, I think it was last Friday, I sent out like a feeler for Xavier Cortada from the Cortada Foundation. Their foundation in like environmental awareness and also social awareness. They will be in town in October. He has a talk up at the Muscarel Museum in Williamsburg. When they reached out to me, because I had spoken with them before about their outreach. They do much outreach in the public. They provide artwork and different types of things. And he reached out to us to say, you know, he's going to be at the talk and on the 28th, I believe, of October, but he has availability on the 27th and 29th. If we in the region want to meet with them to see if what they're doing aligns with what we're doing. And so I thought of that regional PPI when I sent that out, like that could be something that we could explore. And, you know, we could host it here, or if someone else wants to host it or whatever. And just to get the idea out there and get people thinking about it. But we're going to meet with them. We're going to meet with them. I'm just putting it out in case anyone else wants.
That's great, Kristen. Where are they based?
Florida.
Very cool.
But that's where I first saw it. I was visiting my sister. She had a sign in her yard for her BFE. And they make these signs out of water. He's traveled to like the poles, and with the warming climate, that water didn't even exist before. But as the climate is warming now, and so he makes the signs out of the water so that he can explain all of that to people to increase the awareness and environmental stewardship and everything like that.
I like that.
BFE signs in her yard. That's what I first saw that drew me. But
We are a few minutes over, so thank you. I understand other people have to hop off. Again, if there are any topics or there's stuff you want to better understand, please let me know and I will either speak on it or I will get a speaker, probably knows more than me, on it. And so if there's areas where it's another activity where you're not sure if you're getting all your credits, we can go through it again. Go through so you know we're all going through like the manual together. And with that, here's our emails. But thank you guys, everybody, for coming. Chris, thank you so much for bringing stuff.
Go.
Woo! Okay. Have a great day, everybody.
hey. Yeah, no, they do a lot of good work. So yeah, here.
Thank you.
Everybody take extras.